This is Pilates Leeds. My name's Alison and here is my November 2019 clip. And these are a set of 5 things which are what I think are really good, helpful, effective ways to get your lower back moving a little bit more if it's stiff. So the first one is I'm going to lie down, and so there's me lying down, and the first thing is simple sort of stretching exercises and a knee hug. So at its most gentle, a knee hug is exactly that. If you have knee issues, put your hand underneath your knee, and just hugging towards you like that will start to stretch a little bit into maybe your bottom and then into your lower back. If you're feeling adventurous, straighten the other leg out on the floor, but just be aware that your back stays feeling comfortable and connected onto the floor, and then you'll just kind of get a little bit more of a stretch, more through the hips really, but this is a good thing to release off the back. You get a bit of a hip stretch at the front and a bit of a bottom and a lower back stretch on the hugged side, and more adventurous still, sort of roll round. Imagine you're drawing a big circle in the lower back. So I'm circling my lower back and my thigh bone and my knee, and I'm doing both directions, and then I'm going to stop and change sides. So at its gentlest, knee hug. More adventurous, knee hug with the straight leg, so you're stretching a lot more than just the lower back, and more adventurous still, knee hug circles. And I'd spend 1 or 2 minutes doing this. And just a little companion piece to go with that exercise, and this is a gentle one but nonetheless helpful. This is knee rolls. Feet together, knees together, thighs together, and just roll from side to side. And again, gentle, kind exercise. If your knees gape, put a block in between your knees to keep them together, and just allow yourself to curve through one way and then the other, and that will just gently perturb and loosen off your back. And you could go up to 15-20 per side on that. So that's your first exercise, or sort of set of exercises of 5. So the second exercise is an exercise called shoulder bridge, and I'm going to give you 2 different versions of these, and this is really great for getting the lower back moving. So I'm just going to lie down. Not really shoulder bridge, but if you're down anyway, have a go at this as a prelim, pelvic tilt. So what's really great about this is you get your, I'll take my top up so you can see a bit better. You can see that the pelvis and the lower back move into lower back curving into the floor, flexion, and then pelvis and lower back tipping up to the ceiling into extension. So you get those 2 ranges of movement. So that is pelvic tilt, and that's a little add-on. I think that's enough of my stomach, don't you? This is shoulder bridge. Now, it's a very familiar Pilates exercise, but crucially for here, you don't need very much. You only need, I sometimes call this baby shoulder bridge. You only need the first bit. So you're going to tip the pelvis, and then the tailbone at the back of the body is going to start to lift in the air, then the rest of the base of the spine, the sacrum, and then slowly the lower back lifts bit by bit, ideally into the air, just to the level of the back of your rib cage, and then crucially you're going back the way you came, and that's the tricky bit. Breathing in to prepare, breathing out, tilt the pelvis, start to lift the tailbone, the sacrum, and then the lower back up towards roughly in line with your tummy button. Breathe in and breathe out, and here's the tricky bit, all the way back down to the bottom. You may find it helps to have a cushion in between your knees to give you stability. Now, the reason why I'm on a funny angle here is I wanted to show you a modification that I think massively helps. So I'm going to come round, I'm going to leave the mat, but just move me, I think. And if you have your feet on a wall, it's really transformative. It's because the feet are higher, you can do the same exercise, but it just gives you much more, quite literally, room for manoeuvre. Because you can press into the the wall with your feet and give yourself some traction, and it allows you much more control as you lift up and down. You could go higher, but just be aware that the focus of this is to move and mobilize the lower back. So just be aware that on the way down, you're getting that sequential, progressive lifting. I'd breathe, again, I'd breathe out as you go up, breathe in at the top, breathe out as you go down. And number of reps, well, do you know what? As many as you can be bothered. Loads. It's not demanding physically, so as many as you can be bothered. So here's the third exercise, and it's another old faithful, but again it's kind of doable and it does get some results, and it's cat stretch. So you want to come into all fours. I appreciate some of you aren't going to manage the all fours position because of wrists or knees. I'll give you modification in a minute. So you're in your all fours position, and I'm not going to cue that particularly, just to say keep your shoulder blades wide, keep your spine long, and send your wrists down into the floor to give you lift. Okay, so the basic cat stretch is the following. I would breathe in to prepare and breathe out, and then make a rainbow with your spine, paying particular attention on the up cat to work into the lower back. And then breathe in and turn your spine inside out. That's your down cat or unrainbow. Paying particular attention here to how you get the upper back moving. So breathe out, come up. Really feel that you're sending your tailbone and getting work in the lumbar. Breathing in, and this is the one to work your upper back. Get that movement in the upper back around the rib cage. Couple of little variations on a theme. To emphasize more of a stretch in the lower back, you can tip the pelvis, and it's more of a dynamic movement. So it's emphasizing just the up cat, and it's using dynamic movement to generate a little bit of stretch. Obviously it's a bit harsher on the knees, but on the other hand, it's loads nicer for the wrists. So that's a little variation. And again, if you can tolerate going back into your knees, here's a little add-on for you. You can sit back into a crouch position. If you can't manage the crouch, put a cushion or a block to kind of block that gap to make crouching easier, and then keep your pelvis where it is and walk your rib cage round for a movement, a stretch. Well, it moves the spine, but crucially it gives you a little bit of stretch into your side back muscles. It's harsher on the knees, that one, so you might only get 1 or 2 per side on this, or maybe not at all and you just do the cat stretch. If you can, aim for 10 reps on the cat, but if you can't do that, then even 5, 4 is better than nothing. And for people who are not great in the knees or the wrists, one way to do cat stretch is like this. So you're breathing in and cat stretching forwards and breathing out and go back. So it's not as much movement, but on the other hand, it's much nicer on your wrist. There's my in-breath and there's my out-breath. Much nicer on the knees and the wrists. It's a bit shoulder bladey this. They go a bit wild. Don't mind them, just work on the spine. Okay, that's it. Here I am back with a different top, because I'm hoping they'll be clearer, but also with my old familiar bit of territory, and that's the wall. So the last of the next thing is a release, but this is the last of the exercises, and this is roll down but using a wall. Now, I can't get the camera angle any better because I've broken my wide angle lens, so I'll do my best to show you from here. So the first thing is you need to squat down into a ski squat. Now this is quaddy, as in it, you feel this work in your knees. So it's going to strengthen the knees, but you're going to feel it. So you maybe only going to do 1 or 2 reps, and you'll need to come up and stand and relax your legs. So just bear that in mind. So you're sitting into what's called a ski squat, and your back is against the wall, and maybe your head, maybe not, depends on your posture type. And here's the roll down. Breathe in, breathe out, and start to curve away from this unforgiving but straight piece of tech, the wall, and you feel the spine coming on bit by bit. And when you get into the lower back, pay particular attention that it's coming off bit by bit. When you get down to you're starting to bend at the hips, stop. Don't go any further. Instead, breathe in again, breathe out, and come back the way you came, doing your very best to put that spine back where you found it. So it gives you that feedback, so you have the challenge of really feeling whether you're articulating the spine or just kind of moving past stiff bits. And the other thing it does, it blocks the hips. You can't flex at the hip in this exercise because, well, you can, but it's much easier to stop at that point. So that's me coming away from the wall. I'm starting to go into hip flexion, so I'm stopping there, and I'm going back the way you came. And to assist on the way back, bring the pubic bone up to assist you with that return journey of the lower back. As I say, it's quite tiring on the legs, so maybe just do 2 or 3, stand up, have a rest, and then do 2 to 3 sets of that. Great to get the lower back moving. So the 5th exercise is not even an exercise at all, really. It's just a thing that you can do to release off a tight lower back, and it's self-massage. And you're going to use these things, spiky massage balls. So it's really very simple. It just takes a little bit of time. So this is definitely one for the radio or a podcast or something. So lie down on your back, and I generally find I'm better with a head support, and put the balls, I start with soft ones just in case, and put them in your lower back, and then just lie there and let them work their magic. So this is a time game. So just be aware of where your lower back is, so it's not the rib cage and it's not your pelvis. You can move them around a little bit within that position on the lower back. Of course, if you're onto the ribs, it's not going to be dangerous. It's just not your lower back anymore, that's all. And you can move around. You can swing your lower back left to right like that, or sort of move around a bit. Or you can even add a bit of extra pressure by bringing your legs up. Really, if you're wanting to release off the lower back, then if you've got the time, then it's well worth using these spiky massage balls on your buttocks as well. So just for the sake of it, I'll show you with these ones. These are a little bit spiky, so a lot more pressure. If you've got these and they've turned out they feel a bit too spiky for you, just put a towel between you and the balls, and that'll take off some of the tension. And again, you can roll and rock around, sort of, there we go, you can see me doing that, or you can go over with your knees that way. That's quite a tender spot when you do that. Or you can bring knees up like that. So if you sometimes tight buttock muscles can feed the tight lower back, and vice versa, so it's well worth giving this a go for both. And one last thing, and this is why I've got the chair, you can, I'm going to have to get up for this, and then put the chair in situ, and it can be quite nice and relaxing to have your legs on a chair. So it's a way to release off the lower back, to release off the front of the thighs, and then balls on your bottom or your lower back, and just sort of take the time to release and spread. So as I say, my legs are relaxing, the lower back's relaxing on the ball, and as I say, maybe not one to do while you've got general election coverage, dare I say it, but take the time, relax, and they will work their magic, promise. Hi there. I do hope you found this clip useful. We've got plenty more on the site, and for now I've suggested another one for you to watch. If you want to know more about what we do in Leeds, then do visit the website at pilates-leeds.com, and right now you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we can do this all again next month. Cheerio.